You're listening to The Stephen Torriello Show, building a platform of liberty for people in search of truth with a dash of hope and a life worth living. The Stephen Torriello Show. And now, here's Stephen.
The Department of Justice enforced foreign lobbying rules on Hunter's business partners. What's up, podcast listeners? Welcome to the show. So, let me get this straight. So, the Department of Justice enforced foreign lobbying rules on Hunter's business partners, but not Hunter Biden? Sounds kind of fishy. And it is, ladies and gentlemen, because that is what we're watching. What we're watching is a massive cover-up by a weaponized Department of Justice. Merrick Garland is using the Department of Justice as Joe Biden's personal bodyguard, is what it is. His personal go-to guy, a mob boss, and that's exactly what he is. So Hunter Biden worked closely with multiple people who disclosed their lobbying for foreign companies under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, raising questions about whether he broke the law by not registering himself for doing the same work. So, Foreign Agents Registration Act. I want to explain to you, because you're going to be hearing a lot about this in the coming weeks. Exactly what is FARA? So, FARA stands for the Foreign Agents Registration Act. It is a United States federal law that was enacted in 1938 to promote transparency and prevent covert foreign influence on the U.S. government and its policies. The primary purpose of FARA is to ensure that individuals and entities acting as agents of foreign principals disclose their relationship and activities to the United States Department of Justice and the public. Under FARA, any person or organization engaging in political or quasi-political activities on behalf of a foreign government, political party, or other foreign principal must register with the DOJ. This registration includes providing detailed information about the nature of their activities, the funds received from foreign principals, and their contacts with U.S. government officials. The information disclosed in the FARA registration is made publicly available through the Department of Justice's FARA Registration Unit. It's essential to note that FARA is not a prohibition on lobbying or advocacy for foreign interests. Instead, it requires transparency and disclosure of such activities to safeguard against covert foreign influence. Non-compliance with FARA registration requirements can lead to legal consequences, including civil and criminal penalties. The Department of Justice has the authority to investigate potential FARA violations and enforce compliance with the law. And so last week, during the Hunter Biden plea deal that got destroyed by this judge that just asked questions, that's exactly what she was asking. Is Hunter Biden under investigation for FARA violations? And he is. According to the Department of Justice, that's exactly what they said. So the federal government, the Department of Justice, said that Hunter Biden is indeed under investigation for FARA violations, and what his attorneys were trying to do was get him immunity from being charged with it. So now that you know what FARA is, you're going to be hearing a lot about it. So this is why I ask, Department of Justice enforced foreign lobbying rules on Hunter's business partners, but not Hunter. So Hunter Biden, even though Hunter Biden worked closely with multiple people who disclosed their lobbying for foreign companies under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, raising questions about whether he broke the law by not registering himself for doing the same work. He also lobbied U.S. officials alongside many others who did not register under FARA for work that emails show clearly involved advocacy that would trigger the FARA requirements. The focus on Hunter Biden's foreign lobbying grew more intense this week when a judge in Delaware pressed prosecutors about whether they were continuing to investigate the president's son for alleged FARA violations. A day in court that was supposed to mark the end of Hunter Biden's legal troubles may have been the start of even more, as the judge rejected the plea deal on Wednesday that Hunter Biden believed would shield him from prosecution for his foreign business dealings. Some of the people at the firm that worked with Hunter Biden in advocating Burisma, the Ukrainian energy company whose board Hunter Biden joined in 2014, registered their work under FARA after apparent prodding from the Justice Department. The firm, Blue Star Strategies, was under investigation by the DOJ at the time. Why they were permitted to file foreign lobbying disclosures years after the work took place, rather than face penalties for their failure to do so, remains unclear. It's a cover-up. It's corruption, that's why. We never had this much corruption in our government before. This is insane. So this is where it starts getting interesting. Sally Painter and Karen Tramontano, the Blue Star Strategies consultants, whose emails reflect a close working relationship with Hunter Biden on Burisma, registered as foreign lobbyists representing Burisma's chief, Mykola Zlochevsky. In 2022, Zlochevsky was under criminal investigation in Ukraine. Tramontano and Painter disclosed to the government that they helped set up meetings between Zlochevsky's attorney and State Department officials, according to FARA documents. Those meetings occurred in 2016 while Joe Biden was vice president. Blue Star Strategies, Hunter Biden and Hunter Biden's business partners worked closely to boost Burisma's image across many fronts, including by working to have the Ukrainian company's Wikipedia page scrubbed of negative press, strategizing about how to navigate court hearings as Zlochevsky battled a criminal investigation into his dealings, and partnering on a proposal for what the team could offer Zlochevsky in terms of a lobbying campaign. Blue Star Strategies did not register under FARA in real time, and the consultants' work with Burisma had come to the attention of investigators on the Hunter Biden case, according to the IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley. This was the guy, the IRS whistleblower, that just came forward last week with bombshell testimony, shocking testimony, that essentially said we were trying to investigate all this and we were obstructed by the Department of Justice and other various U.S. attorneys. Shapley testified to Congress that the Justice Department slow-walked a search warrant for Blue Star Strategies emails in 2020, and that Leslie Wolf, a prosecutor in Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office accused of misconduct, told investigators, quote, it would likely not get approved. This was a significant blow to the Foreign Agents Registration Act piece of the investigation, Shapley said. So they were trying, Shapley and this other guy, Shapley and Ziegler were looking into FARA violations, were investigating FARA violations when they were stonewalled. Okay? That's what they blew the whistle on. They said, look, we clearly have violations of FARA. These people are not registering under FARA, and we want a warrant to search Blue Star Strategies emails. They were denied. They were not supported, and that's exactly what they said. But the FARA documents Painter and Tramontano did eventually file suggest that specific meetings and contacts in which Hunter Biden was involved met with the Justice Department's definition of foreign lobbying. You guys remember that in that FARA definition, what I told you. For example, one of the meetings that Blue Star Strategies arranged on behalf of Zlochevsky was with an Obama State Department official named Amos Hochstein in 2016. Emails show Hunter Biden was also in contact with Hochstein during his time on the Burisma board and that he met with Hochstein in 2015. Hunter Biden appeared to have attempted to work with another associate whose foreign lobbying required disclosure under FARA while his father was vice president. In 2010, Hunter Biden told that associate, Mark Doyle, that he would stack a trip to meet the president of Serbia and other wealthy Serbians at the end of his father's official travel to Spain. Quote, JRB will be in Madrid and I can catch a ride with him and fly over to Serbia and back with you, Hunter Biden wrote to Mark Doyle, a registered foreign lobbyist, in April 2010. So this guy, Mark Doyle, was registered as a foreign lobbyist, but not Hunter, even though Hunter Biden is flying on Air Force Two with his dad to go make deals, I guess, with the Serbians. Okay? The meetings were ostensibly about locking down more investments for his firm. Like Blue Star Strategies, Doyle disclosed his work for the Serbian government in FARA filings. Hunter Biden was eager to get involved with the Serbian project, emailing Doyle that he wanted to, quote, to get this started right away. Whom should I be laying the groundwork with? Question mark. Hunter Biden wrote in 2011. IMF, World Bank, or ambassadors? Question mark. Doyle also appears to have attempted to put together a deal between Hunter Biden and the Saudi Business Council in 2011. But Hunter Biden's associates requested so much money for the president's son that the broker, a Nigerian businessman, balked at the figure. So Hunter Biden was asking big bucks to work on these different councils. They're essentially what they are is like corrupt businesses, corrupt corporations that want protection, or they want certain policies changed, or whatever the case is. They need a guy that's on the inside that's going to get stuff done for them. So what do? You hire a vice president's son. Why? Because he has access to the vice president of the United States. So if you got a prosecutor that's on your tail and you want to get that prosecutor fired, what do? You hire somebody like Hunter Biden to use his dad to leverage $1 billion to get that prosecutor fired. That's exactly what we've seen, and Joe Biden admitted it on live freaking TV.
I got all the good ones, so I got Ukraine, and I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Okay, on a stage bragging about it. That's exactly what all this stuff is about. All this is about dirty deals, is about Hunter Biden peddling his father's influence. And his father was doing things to make those deals go through. That's what this is about. However, the big concern is why Hunter Biden wasn't registered as a foreign agent. That's what everybody's asking. And so what happens is this judge asked, is Hunter Biden being investigated for FARA violations? And they said yes. It gets better. The Justice Department has also brought criminal charges over a FARA violation involving work with a Chinese company that paid Hunter Biden hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, a Chinese company. So Hunter Biden admitted in court to that judge that he indeed did get paid from Romania, Ukraine, and China. All right? I'm pointing that out because it's going to mean something here in a little bit. Gal Luft, a think tank director who had made headlines for claiming to have evidence of crimes committed by the Biden family, was indicted on charges of FARA violations and other crimes earlier this month. So imagine that. Everyone's getting indicted on FARA violations but Hunter Biden. I wonder why. So Luft's FARA charges stemmed from his unregistered lobbying for CEFC, a Chinese energy company that, according to Luft's indictment, the Justice Department accused of running an influence campaign in the United States during the years Hunter Biden also worked with it, according to Luft's indictment. So in the indictment, the Department of Justice admits that Hunter Biden was working in CEFC, but somehow this guy Luft gets charged with FARA violations, but not Hunter, even though both of them got paid and was working for the same company. I told you, it gets better. Hunter Biden's income from ventures with CEFC executives came up in court on Wednesday when the judge asked him to clarify some of the complicated financial structures he created around his foreign lobbying work. The work with CEFC involved President Joe Biden's brother, James Biden, as well as Hunter Biden. In one 2017 email, a CEFC executive asked one of Hunter Biden's business associates to, quote, please convey his greetings to the B family. Their support is the base of CEFC's further development. The B family. What do you think that is? Would you think maybe Biden family? I don't know. The Chinese company was looking to expand its energy business and its influence globally, including in the U.S. So this guy, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son and Joe Biden's brother, was selling out our country. That's what they were doing. They were lobbying a Chinese energy company to sell access to the United States' energy sector. What the hell is this? And this guy still. So all this money being made from foreign adversaries, not registered as a foreign agent. But yet, everyone else gets indicted for foreign agent for FARA violations but Hunter Biden. You see, folks, it's all a damn cover-up is what it is. Corruption at the highest level. And Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice are acting like the Biden's personal bodyguards. This is unacceptable by any standard. I'm going to continue on. We're almost done here. So Luft is not the only person to face criminal charges over working with CEFC from 2015 to 2017, the same years that Hunter Biden and James Biden collected checks from it. Patrick Ho, head of U.S.-based organization backed by CEFC, was sentenced to 3 years in prison in 2019 for helping CEFC pay bribes in pursuit of business opportunities. Luft has alleged that prosecutors removed all references to Hunter Biden and the Biden family from emails that were used during Ho's trial. Hunter Biden was reportedly the first person Ho attempted to call after his 2017 arrest. So the prosecutors removed all references of the Biden family as they were arresting and prosecuting this guy? Even though Hunter Biden was reportedly the first person Ho attempted to call after his arrest. So what he was doing was, hey man, I paid good money to get protection, and you're not protecting me because I'm being arrested right now. That's why he calls up Hunter Biden. It's a first damn thing I would do if I paid somebody to peddle influence, if I paid somebody for protection against the United States prosecution or the United States Department of Justice, and I get arrested, I'm definitely calling that guy I just paid a lot of money to. Folks, all this is a massive scandal. Massive. The Biden family, Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, the Jim Biden, the entire damn family was selling out the United States of America. That is treason. Okay? That is treason. And how they're going to get them is through FARA violations. That is exactly what I'm going to explain to you in just a second. But while Luft and Ho face charges over their work for CEFC, Hunter Biden has not. Shapley, the IRS whistleblower, provided Congress with a transcript of the FBI's interview with Rob Walker, a close Hunter Biden business associate, in which Walker admitted that Joe Biden attended a meeting with CEFC executives at the Four Seasons in Washington, D.C., once out of office. Walker also said Hunter Biden set up meetings involving his father when Joe Biden was vice president. Okay, so the IRS whistleblower is saying that Walker admitted that Joe Biden attended a meeting with CEFC executives at the Four Seasons in Washington, D.C. Folks, this is so deep. This is so bad, man. So corrupt. So Hunter Biden appears to have met with then U.S. ambassador to Romania, written him a letter, and worked on proposals to send to the ambassador as he and several of his close partners, including Walker, lobbied to shield Romanian real estate magnate Gabriel Popovici from criminal prosecution. That's a hard one. Hunter Biden and his partners repeatedly worked their contacts in the State Department for advice and introductions that could help Popovici emails show. Rob Walker appears to have collected $3 million from, I'm going to try and pronounce this again, Popoviciu. Bank records obtained by the House Oversight Committee show and distributed a third of that to Hunter Biden, Haley Biden, and an unknown Biden account, the committee said. Who do you think that unknown account belongs to? I'll give you 3 guesses, but I bet you can get it in 1. All right, so last of it here. In a statement to the New York Times in 2019, Hunter Biden's lawyer characterized his client's work with Popoviciu as involving little more than a referral to another attorney. The emails show Hunter Biden actually worked State Department contacts on Popoviciu's behalf. So that's what this guy was doing. Hunter Biden was selling influence, was selling his dad's power, and his father was returning the favor. So let me get this straight. You have Hunter Biden making business deals, okay, to get people out of trouble, to peddle influence in the United States, and in his role with China was actually selling access to the United States' energy sector because China wanted to start selling energy in the United States. And mind you, Hunter Biden is not registered as a foreign agent. So this is clearly a violation of FARA. I mean, there's no other way around it. Even by the Department of Justice's own standards and requirements, this is a FARA violation. And that's exactly why the judge in Delaware was asked if Hunter Biden is being investigated for FARA violations. But it gets worse. It actually really does get worse. So I keep hearing a lot of people talk about how there's no evidence linking Joe Biden to Hunter Biden's corrupt business deals. Isn't it amazing how we went from Joe Biden didn't know anything about his son's business deals to now, oh, well, he may have, but you can't prove it. Like, you see how far we've come in just, a year and a half, 2 years? We've been talking about Joe Biden leveraging $1 billion in taxpayer money to get a prosecutor fired that was investigating Burisma. That's the kind of deals this family made. That's the kind of deals Hunter Biden did. Like, that was the business. That was the business. They didn't have any goods or service. Their service was selling influence, was selling out the United States. I would say borderline treasonous. but they're probably not going to go that far. But they are at least investigating FARA violations, because by every single standard, Hunter Biden has violated the FARA. And so this is why I say it gets worse for the Biden family. Because, like I remember when I said in the beginning, that judge opened a lot of doors to a lot of other things. And one of those things is FARA. And I got an audio clip from Mark Levin, and I think he explains it the best. Mark Levin and other legal scholars have been on this from day one. And I just thank God we have people like Mark Levin on our side, because this guy is a ferocious speaker. He's a ferocious lawyer and a ferocious patriot for this country. And we are lucky to have him on our side. And so I want to go ahead and play you an audio clip of Mark Levin, and we'll talk about what he says. Here, check this out.
Let me tell you what the big issue is here. Because this Department of Justice, under no circumstances, is going to be able to, even if it could, drag the President of the United States into a courtroom. Does it sound like Attorney General Garland's willing to do that? Have you seen any evidence of that whatsoever? Joe Biden is a co-conspirator in the violation of FARA.
Boom, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden is a co-conspirator in FARA. Yeah. So you don't have to link Joe Biden up to any of this money, because Hunter Biden was using Joe Biden. He was using Air Force Two to fly around to these different countries. There's emails that show that. I just read you some. So he was using taxpayer-funded transportation to peddle influence, to sell out our country. Okay? And then also, you have whistleblowers, and you have former business partners that say Joe Biden was directly involved in these business deals, sometimes meeting with the people themselves. In the Four Seasons Hotel in Washington, D.C., on the phone, we have emails, we have photos, we have audio, we have a video where Joe Biden admitted to leveraging $1 billion to get a prosecutor fired. There is plenty of evidence that links Joe Biden to all of this, because Joe Biden was a co-conspirator in Hunter Biden's FARA violations. And let me explain to you how this type of manipulation worked. I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. That, ladies and gentlemen, is influence peddling. That's what that is. So that's why the Department of Justice said that they're investigating Hunter Biden for FARA violations. They're reluctant because they know that once all this comes out, Joe Biden is a co-conspirator. There's no other way around it, folks. I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to the rest of Mark Levin, because he kind of explains it a little better. Here, check this out.
On multiple occasions, his son flew on a jet, Air Force Two, with him. And that was done to help facilitate his business transactions with foreign governments and front corporations. The multiple times it is said that Joe Biden was sitting with his son when he was making threats to officials and others in foreign lands for shakedowns. Joe Biden was helping to facilitate Hunter Biden's activities. Congress already has all this information. These committees have done a hell of a job. They've already pulled the teeth, so they don't have to show that Joe Biden received a nickel. Not a nickel. We know that Hunter Biden received millions of nickels, tens of millions of dollars. They also have information from witnesses, like Bob Alinsky, among others. We're going to hear from Devin Archer on Monday. They also have schedule information on how often Joe Biden met with Hunter Biden's business partners and others. The case against Joe Biden as a co-conspirator assisting his son to violate the FARA is overwhelming. It should be the absolute first article in a list of articles of impeachment against Joe Biden because it is compelling. It is bulletproof. There is no speculation. You don't need evidence that Joe Biden took a nickel. He's a co-conspirator for his son, who took tens of millions.
Joe Biden is a co-conspirator for Hunter Biden's FARA violations. Yep. So I want to explain exactly what is a co-conspirator of FARA violations. So I asked artificial intelligence to gather and summarize what a co-conspirator of FARA violation would be. And this is what it gave me. A co-conspirator of a Foreign Agents Registry Act violation is an individual or entity who knowingly collaborates with another person to commit a FARA violation. FARA is United States law that requires individuals and organizations acting as agents of foreign principals to disclose their relationship and activities to the U.S. Department of Justice. The purpose of FARA is to promote transparency and prevent covert foreign influence in the United States. Well, I would say Hunter Biden colluding and collaborating with a Chinese energy company to sell influence here in the United States' energy sector, I would probably call that a covert foreign influence campaign, wouldn't you? Yeah. So when someone fails to register as a foreign agent or makes false statements or omissions in their FARA registration, they can be charged with a FARA violation. In some cases, multiple individuals may be involved in the scheme, working together to evade or violate FARA requirements. Those who actively participate in or aid the commission of FARA violation could be considered co-conspirators. I don't know. I think Joe Biden flying Hunter Biden around so we can make all these business deals, I would say that's actively participating or aiding the commission of a FARA violation, wouldn't you? I certainly would. So it goes on. If law enforcement agencies or the DOJ investigate and uncover evidence of a FARA violation and involvement of multiple individuals, they may charge all of the co-conspirators with conspiracy to commit FARA violations. This charge can be in addition to any other specific FARA-related charges brought against individual violators. Yep, this is it, folks. Just like Mark Levin said, this is bulletproof. Congress already proved this. We already know for a fact that Hunter Biden has got millions of dollars from these corrupt business deals. We know for a fact, and we're getting ready to know more with Devin Archer's testimony tomorrow, that Hunter Biden was directly involved in these business deals, talking to them on the phone, going and meeting them at the Four Seasons Hotel in Washington, D.C. with Rob Walker. We know all of this. He was actively and knowingly aiding Hunter Biden by flying him around and talking on the phone. He was part of the business. Joe Biden's position in office was the business. That was the business. This is why you don't hear Joe Biden or Hunter Biden coming out and telling you what goods and services they provided for this millions of dollars. And so to say that there's no evidence is very mind-blowing to me, and it shows an extreme case of denialism from everybody in the Democrat Party. And it's about ready to get a lot worse, because Devin Archer is coming out tomorrow, and they say he's going to sing like a canary. And he was just issued, there was this thing that came out just today that the Department of Justice was essentially trying to speed up the process of getting him, Devin Archer, to turn himself in to serve his prison sentence. And his lawyers say he's still going to show up tomorrow and do his testimony. And I was getting ready to do a show on it, but the lawyers had already come out and commented on it. So there you go, folks. And just like Mark Levin said, Joe Biden's not going to get indicted. You can't indict a sitting president. Joe Biden's not going to get charged. They're not going to ask him for anything. But what needs to happen is impeachment articles need to be brought up on this. Joe Biden, a co-conspirator, and Hunter Biden's FARA violations. That's exactly what this is. And what's even mind-blowing, so you have the scandal, and then you have the cover-up. And just like Watergate, the cover-up is worse than the scandal. But I don't know about this. They are both equally bad. They are both equally unprecedented. Unprecedented. We have never had this big of a scandal in our country's history. Ever. And everybody knew Joe Biden was a corrupt guy, man. Everybody knew he was a liar. Everybody knew he was corrupt. Even Barack Obama knew he was corrupt. We all read that article when Obama's staffers said that Hunter Biden flying around making all these business deals with foreign countries was a bad idea. In fact, there was Julie Kelly even pulled up a audio clip from 2014 where the press was asking Jen Psaki, who was the head of something or other back in 2014. They were asking about, during the Obama administration, they were asking if these deals that Hunter Biden was making in foreign countries was going to be a problem for Joe Biden or the Obama administration. And Jen Psaki did what she does best. She lied.
Or any thoughts about the vice president's son joining the board of directors of this Ukrainian gas company? Does, in particular, I understand why the White House would refer this to the vice president's office, but does this building diplomatically have any concerns about potential perceptions of conflict or / cronyism, which is what you've often accused the Russians of the Russians of doing?
No, he's a private citizen.
Okay, but then do you consider that the Russian oligarchs who control, or the Ukrainian oligarchs who control these, they're all private citizens as well?
We certainly wouldn't put them in the same category.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that it should be in the same category, but I'm wondering if there are concerns from this building about the perception about how the Russians and or the Ukrainians would perceive the involvement of a son of the Vice President of the United States in this, especially given the situation.
No, there are not.
Not. Okay.
So there you go, folks. All this corruption was happening on your dollar, with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden taking Air Force Two, flying around the world, making corrupt business deals, and selling out our country. That's what they were doing. You could say this was borderline treason. They should treat this as treason. So get that. Everything that they accuse their opponents of doing, everything that they accuse Donald Trump of doing, they themselves are actually guilty of doing. We've seen this. How many examples of this have we seen? Between the Russia collusion hoax, between now these corrupt deals, now the war. Remember when they said Donald Trump was going to get us into war? And then they said Donald Trump was going to make us lose all our allies. They project everything onto Donald Trump like he's a shiny object to a fish. They use Donald Trump as an emotional trigger to get people to bend the knee, to manipulate people, to brainwash people. Because millions of people have been psychologically and emotionally damaged by Donald Trump. They hear his name and their confirmation bias kicks in unlike anything we've ever seen. They will accept anything as long as the name Donald Trump is in that sentence. If you came out and said, the Department of Justice says the sky is red, but Donald Trump insists that it's blue, these freaking people, these stupid-ass people, these dumbasses will say, well, Donald Trump is a liar. So the sky is red, damn it. It's red. Can't you see it? Donald Trump is trying to lie to the American people and try and say that the sky is blue. Is what they do. They are insane. These people are nuts. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share with you. It definitely took a lot longer than I thought. But that's all I got. I'm getting ready to get on and do another show right after this. So, yeah, reach out to me. I think this is incredible. I think you're going to start hearing a lot more about these FARA violations. This is the key, ladies and gentlemen. These FARA violations are the key to impeaching Joe Biden. And that is exactly what the Republicans need to do when they get off a break. Yeah, they get a month-long break, a summer break, like they're in freaking 8th grade. They get summer breaks. Unbelievable. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you got any questions, you can get a hold of me at StephenTorrielloShow@gmail.com. I am going to leave the article I read discussing how the DOJ enforced lobbying on Hunter's business partners, but not Hunter. I'll post this to my podcast description. I'll also post the Mark Levin audio clip. I'll post the link to that segment of Mark Levin's show on the podcast description. It's a Rumble video. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think. This is what I think needs to happen immediately. FARA violations, and Joe Biden is a co-conspirator in Hunter Biden's FARA violations. That's exactly what we're looking at right now. So things are going to get interesting, especially with Devin Archer coming in to testify tomorrow. It's going to be damaging. And what's crazy is Hunter Biden and the media are already trying to get ahead of this. They know Devin Archer is going to sing like a canary, and that is going to be not one, but two former business partners saying that Joe Biden was directly involved in his son's business deals. What other evidence do you need? I mean, you have a mountain of evidence that Joe Biden was involved in all these business deals, and somehow it's not enough evidence. It is mind-blowing. And honestly, folks, I don't think there's any amount of evidence that would ever persuade these people into thinking Joe Biden is a corrupt president. So I think it's time to stop trying to get the leftist media, Pravda outlet, and all the Bolshevik Democrats. I think it's time to stop looking for their approval to move on with impeachment proceedings of Joe Biden. I think Republicans need to come back from break and get these started immediately. At least start the inquiry, because that's going to be opening a lot more doors. So we're going to see what Devin Archer has to say tomorrow, and it's about ready to get a lot worse for the Biden family, especially Joe Biden. And just like I've been saying, there is no way Joe Biden is going to be able to run for president. No way. You're talking a year and a half of more of this. This is what they found in just 6 months. These people were idiots. They were morons. It just goes to show how arrogant they are. They thought they were going to be able to do all this without getting caught. And look, for all intents and purposes, Democrats didn't want to know. The FBI knew about that laptop since 2019. Democrats knew about all this corruption. Hell, Jen Psaki was asked about it in 2014 by the press during the Obama administration. And still, nobody looked into this. Nobody asked questions. So this is just corruption as usual, and it really makes you wonder. If not for Republicans being elected, we wouldn't have known anything about this. That, to me, ladies and gentlemen, is the most concerning part. Because if not for that laptop, all this corruption wouldn't even be out in the open. And so it makes you wonder how corrupted other politicians and their families are that didn't leave a laptop at a computer repair store. It's crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. As always, you guys have a good day. Have a great week. I know Mondays suck, man. I'm there with you. Don't worry. You guys have a great day. Have a great week. God bless you. God bless America. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.